What we're about to teach you is much the same as what you learned in the last section, applied to the new terrain. We'll also be pointing out some of the necessary things that you should be aware of your first time going to the park and every time thereafter. So let's check in with Solomon to see where we're skating today.
We decided to take a trip from Southern California to the Central Valley to skate the parks in Fresno and Visalia. It's always fun to skate somewhere new. Since I was going to a park for the first time, I thought I'd show you some fundamental tricks for getting around the skate park your first time there. Before we go into the park, check out a couple of tricks that will help you have fun on the way there. Riding with your front foot on your nose as you approach the curb, putting pressure on your tail, lift your front wheels over the curb. As your board touches the curb, shift your weight onto your nose, lifting your back wheels over the curb. Let's see that again. That's a big up. This next trick is a free grind. Free because all you have to do to get one is push and lean into the edge of the sidewalk for some more fun on your way to the skate park. As you approach the edge of the sidewalk, balance on your back wheels like you would to manual. Imagine manualing on your truck. As your truck grabs the edge of the curb, lean back on your tail to lean into the grind. As you start to slow down, shift your weight back to the middle of your board and ride to the next free grind spot. I could spend hours having fun doing those last two tricks, but now it's time to go to the skate park. By the way, here are a few unskateable obstacles to be aware of. When you get to the park, check the rules. Some parks require mandatory safety equipment. Check out the scene. I've already shown you some of what you could expect. As you watch me skate around this park, I want you to imagine yourself doing exactly that. And when you're done seeing yourself do what I just did, let me know and we'll get started with showing you everything you need to know to get around the park too. Perfect timing. Let's go skate. The first thing to get wired is rolling into banks like this little one here. As you come to the edge of the bank, bend your knees slightly to stay centered, ride down and stop. Ride down the same bank until you can do it every time without falling before you try bigger ones. For large banks, the technique is exactly the same. As you start to ride down bigger banks, remember to keep your knees bent to stay centered and watch where you're going. Now that you have rolling in wired, let's move on to carving like you learned in the driveway section around the cones, only here we'll do it on the banks. To carve frontside with your body facing the bank, roll up the bank at an angle. As you get to the peak of the carve, put a slight amount of pressure on your heels to turn. Keep your knees bent to stay centered and continue to ride down the bank as you would if you were rolling in. To carve backside, roll up the bank at an angle with your back to the bank as you get to the peak. This time, put slight pressure on your toes, keeping your knees bent to stay centered, and continue to ride down the bank like you did frontside. Now let's carve the banked corners. The corner is the spot where two banks or transitions come together. Watch how my knees straighten out at the middle point of the corner. This is called pumping and is similar to unweighting, only applied to the center of the corner. This pumping technique is what allows me to skate around the whole park without having to push. Learning these last two tricks are so critical to becoming a good skateboarder because no matter where you're skating, you'll always need to know how to roll down and carve banks and corners to keep your speed. Now I want to show you acid drops. Acid drops are a very important trick to learn to help you understand how to absorb an impact when you're out skating. To do an acid drop, as you approach the end of the ledge, the trick is to hold your front wheels level with your back until your back wheels fall off the end of the ledge. To do this, simply apply a little bit of pressure to your tail as your front wheels clear the end of the ledge. As your back wheels roll off the edge, stay with your board, land with your knees bent to absorb the impact, and ride away. Now that we're leaving and you know how to do acid drops, let's learn one more trick on our way out, firecrackers. To do a firecracker, put as much weight and pressure as you can on your tail as your back wheels leave the curb. The difference with a firecracker and just riding off the curb is that you literally want to ride your back wheels down the back side of the curb. And you'll know when you do it right because the sound of your tail smacking the curb will let your mom at home know that it's time to pick you up. Now that I gotta go, I just want to say thanks for coming down to the skate park to skate with me.